Welcome to Control Alt Deplete, episode 31. 31. Doing little referee hand signals over here. Ah, yes, sir. There we go. Now you're unmuted.
Happy Venus.
Now you know. It happens. It happens. All right. It is Control Alt Deplete, and I am your host, Buck Blind, on the left side of the screen. And on the right side of the screen is our other host, Mr. Bioshock. How are you doing?
Good. I got a lot of sleep today, and I'm ready to play some World of Warcraft after this.
Yeah. Get some keys done and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got some decent amount of news and stuff to talk about today, so let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
Our As usual, the weekly affixes. We've got Fortified, Afflicted, and Raging. So not
Not too
terrible.
bad.
Yeah, not terrible. Just
No.
make sure you've got enough people to cover Afflicted.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
And make sure they have it talented. The ability
Yes.
to get rid of
Yes.
inflicted.
Very true.
Because actually, when we're doing those high keys, that yesterday was it, some of those guys were not running it.
I know, yeah, I noticed that.
And I would expect that, like, mythic, whatever it starts at. What is it? If it starts at 11 or 12 or something?
7?
Oh, so Afflicted starts at 7?
Yes.
So yeah, so anyone doing anyone that's below 7 is like, yeah, whatever. You don't really know what's going on, whatever. But above, you should be like, yeah, I need to run this week, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
We manage.
In other news, World of Warcraft has posted and released some synthwave music on their YouTube channel, covering some zones. What do you know? What the zones are that it covers? Isn't it like the Barrens and something else?
And Elwyn, I think.
Gotcha.
I think I'd have to look, but it's pretty good. I think it's 3 hours long.
No, I think this one's like 20 minutes. The first one that they released last week was 3 hours long. That's the lo-fi music.
Oh,
the synthwave music is like 20 minutes.
Now when I want to find it, I can't find it. Yeah, but you're probably right.
Hang on, I can find it real quick. YouTube, World of Warcraft. It is.
Oh yeah, I see it. It's 3 hours 20 minutes.
Hmm.
It's actually a little longer than the lo-fi. Lo-fi is 3 hours 2 minutes.
That's interesting. The Wowhead article must have had it wrong because the Wowhead article specifically said it was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
but they probably got it wrong.
From the
the YouTube is 3 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good though. Does it say where the Orgrimmar, Thrall, Barrens, Repeat? It might just be Horde zones, to be honest.
The YouTube. Hang on one second. Let me grab it. I was just right there. It says what's what.
The Orgrimmar theme,
so
Thrall, Agra, and then Orc to Orc, and then Barrens, and then Repeat. Oh, it repeats after 20 minutes, so it's the whole.
Oh yeah, so it is 20 minutes. Yeah.
They just have it repeating. Oh, okay. So we were both
you.
right and wrong at the same time.
Right. So yeah, but it's similar to like the lo-fi beats. The lo-fi beats they had, I think, was about 16 minutes of it.
Maybe. Oh, then it's just repeat.
I'm not sure because it shows Elwyn. Well, so it's 3 hours long, but I don't know if I didn't listen to the whole thing, so I don't know if it's got stuff from it. It only shows 3 songs, and then the last section, the last like 3 hours of it is listed as Elwyn Forest.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's accurate, if it repeats afterwards and they just didn't mark it.
I don't know. Yeah, I listened to it for a little bit, but I'm not paying enough attention to listen for repeats. I'm just listening to it in the background. So
right. Really know. But anyway, check it out. Something new to listen to.
Yeah.
We also have some news on some potential mounts coming up and once 10.2 comes out.
Yeah.
Been data mined for the trading post vendor. We've got the Spectral Griffin,
The
Spectral Wind
Alliance.
Rider, and Zebra. The
The
Swift
Swift
Zebra.
Zebra. Zebra.
Zebra,
Zebra.
Zebra. Yeah, I don't know how it says. But yep, yep,
Whatever.
those are pretty cool.
So, so for me, I have the Spectral Griffin, the Wind Rider, and I got it from the recruiting a friend's something or other
Yeah,
from like years ago.
I
I got it a long
might
time
have
ago.
it. I don't know if I have it or not, because I know I have a lot of the recruiter friend stuff, so I don't know if I have that one or not.
Yeah,
The
this
Swift Zebra
it's
looks pretty cool though. I kind of like that one.
yeah, it's the it's like it's that's why I'm kind of a little excited for that. Is that it sucks that like I mean it's cool that everyone gets the mount that I had. It's cause it's a pretty cool mount, but that means I don't have to buy 2 mounts in 1 month. I can use my points to buy a mount, do some transmog stuff. So
Right, there you go.
yeah,
But yep, so those are coming up. Who knows? We don't know what month everything's gonna be in and everything, but we'll
yeah,
figure all that out later at some point.
yeah,
But as of what we have right now, Hollow's End is live.
yeah,
For the last couple days. So time to go get your Headless Horseman mount. They've
yes,
got a lot of cool
and
stuff in there. Arfis is the new
I
pet
got
that you can
Arfis.
get.
Yeah, I got Arfis.
Nice. I haven't done any of those. I need to do it just to get Arfis. I've already got the Headless Horseman, but
Plus, you get the achievements and the feat of strength for doing the all of the burning thing stuff. Like making the boss hard mode is kind of new this year, I think.
yes, yes, it is.
Basically, when you start the area and you walk through, and there's the big courtyard, whatever, where he spawns. Right directly to the left is like these wicker things, and you just talk to them and activate all 5, whatever. And it makes
Nice.
the boss hard mode, and it increases the chance to drop gear and or transmog stuff or whatever. So I got Arfis, and I got the Howl's End armor for the Velocidrake. It's not really that cool. It's it's not the coolest thing, but it's still something collectible, you know.
Right. I feel like the
Um,
hard mode probably isn't that hard. Also.
no, it's just more health, really.
Right. Yeah.
There's really no damage going out at all. He's just got as much health as like a typical like plus 15 boss on like Fortified or Tyrannical. I don't really know, but there's no damage going out, so it's really easy. But yeah, and there's actually what I'm seeing here is like there's actually an offhand you can get too. Or actually says a new offhand that Bucket and War Retreats can be purchased from Dorothy if you're Lions and Chubb if you're Horde. I didn't know that. Bucket and War Retreats. Let's see what that looks like. How much to show it? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to just go buy it and see.
It's probably just a pumpkin. I feel like.
That's what I thought. I thought it would just be like a trick or treat bag or something.
Hang on,
But
I got a picture here. Oh yeah, it's a little. It looks like a trick or treat thing with like some horde looking nubs sticking out of it.
okay, yeah, it's like the only thing left I need to get because I got them out I think last year. But again, so if you don't have the horse and reins, this activating the hard mode increases your chance to get it. So if there's ever been a time to get it, and now is the time.
I put the
And hopefully you get it.
I put the link to the picture in the notes there
Okay.
if you want to look at it.
Yeah, I do.
It looks pretty cool. Got a little sucker and then a little eyeball sticking out of the pumpkin head.
I like that. Yeah. I don't know where to buy it. I'll have to look that up after this podcast.
You gotta buy it from Chubb,
Chubb, wherever the hell he is.
Candy and Toy Vendor in Orgrimmar.
Oh, okay.
So it shouldn't be too hard to find them.
Yeah.
Also, wanted to give an update. I talked about it during the last podcast. The Oasis charity event that they've got going on. That is helping. I believe it's Gamers Outreach. I think is what it is. If I remember correctly. And they are currently at $2,300 out of their $5,000 goal. So go over there, help them out. Once again, let me pop this up here. So yeah, they're at 2,500 mark, or just shy of 2,500. So we've already done the donut challenge, the shaved eyebrows challenge. Thor's dyed his hair. I saw a video of that. They did the Hot Ones challenge. Up next is the Sam Talks versus Pilk. Again, I'm not sure what that is, but you check that out. We've got. Let me see here. The goals. We've got our casters. We'll go over those again real quick. You got Adine,
Yep.
Bowser, Kexman, Party Pete, Patience Spee, Sam Talks, and Thor, amongst others. And then the event itself is a spectacular streamathon with the Dungeon Dojo, who I believe also the Dungeon Dojo is going to be doing their own Race for World First event for raiding, but it's going to be for like casual Mythic Raiders. So they're going to be showcasing the not top 3 guilds, the guilds that don't typically get coverage. So that'll be kind of cool to watch and check out.
Yeah.
Honolulu's been doing their guild's been doing a lot of work with this as well, helping with raid carries and dungeon carry, Mythic Plus carries, and stuff like that to help raise money. And again, it'll be next Saturday on October 28th, 6 a.m. Eastern. Oof. I think it lasts until 9 a.m. I will be doing participating in a speed run bingo challenge. So there's not a ton of info on it because we're trying to keep it all under wraps so people can't be like practicing and stuff. So I think they said they're going to reveal everything about 15 minutes ahead of time, and that's all the time we're going to have to prep. So that should be interesting and see how it works. I have no idea what it is. It's individual.
In it, right?
Yes, I'm participating in it. It's individual as far as I'm aware of. So it's just leveling up.
That's cool.
You get points for each level. You get points for completing the bingo task. I don't know if you get points for like completing 5 in a row like you would for bingo. I don't know if you get bonus points for that. I don't know. So that should be interesting, but come check it out. Again, that's October 28th at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So come hang out, have a good time, and hopefully maybe we'll win. Who knows? I don't know. I doubt we'll win. It'll be an interesting challenge though.
It'll be fun though.
Yep. And then let's see what else is next. That's it for pretty much the regular news. So let's dive into 10.2. What, you got something else?
No, I was just gonna start us off with this one.
Yep, 10.2 content. We have release dates. You want to take us over the different release dates there?
Yeah, so the patch itself comes out on the 7th of November, with Season 3 being probably Mythic Plus and Mythic Raid on the 14th, a week later. Is that
Yes, so that's that article, the link below that one shows all that. So you've got So the
new raid.
Yes, so November 7th. Where's the actual?
Yeah, I see November 7th. We got the new zone.
Yeah, so 14 is the raid. LFR, I believe, is comes out the exact same day.
Right.
And where was it? Did I not get that article in there? Press one.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I know. So no. It's so the raid is the 14th, along with everything for season 3 is the 14th.
Okay, just not but the new zone comes out on the 7th, or what?
Yeah. So the patch comes out on the 7th, just like always. The patch comes out, and then the season starts 1 week after the patch comes out.
Right.
Which is the 14th. But LFR, I believe what they're doing with LFR, if I remember correctly, is the first wing releases the 14th with the rest of the raid. And the changes is that instead of normally where it's every 2 weeks, it's going to be the second wing comes out 1 week later. Third wing comes out 1 week after that. And then you have 2 weeks, and then it's the final wing. So the whole raid will be out in LFR within the first 4 weeks, I believe.
And
so that'll be a lot faster than normal.
Is it
nine bosses altogether, yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what they've been going with this whole expansion.
Yeah. We've got Gnarlroot, Igira the Cruel, Volcaros, Council of Dreams, Larodar, Keeper of the Flame, Nemu, Weaver of the Cycle, Smolderon, Tendril Sage Swift, Seer of the Flame, and Fyrak the Blazing.
Yeah.
This is
Cool.
not what should be playing. There we go. Weird. Why is mine? Oh, because they do weird stuff. Okay, there we go. Now Spotify is working. Yes, so yeah, we have. So we were guessing. I was guessing November 7th or 14th, and a lot of people were thinking 7th when the patch was going to come out. So I'm a little surprised that they're going to do the raid on the 14th, because that only gives them a week and 2 days before Thanksgiving. So that should be, I don't know.
Unless you're Canadian and you're cool.
Well, that's the thing. So if you're US, which, you know, Liquid is a US guild. So that could be conflicting for some of the US guilds. He definitely gives EU an advantage because, you know, EU doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving because, you know, if you're England, I guess Thanksgiving's kind of, you know, the anti-England. I don't know. It's kind of like 4th of July. England's kind of like, we're not really thrilled about 4th of July. But yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know that. I think you could. I'm hoping that we see the raid difficulty similar to how 10.1 was. I don't think other people are going to be happy with it, but I think the level of difficulty for 10.1, was it a short race? Absolutely. However, it was the most exciting race we've seen in probably 2 expansions, I would say. It was a fantastic race. It was down to the wire. It was super close. You felt like either one of the 3 teams that were in there, Liquid, Method, and Echo, you felt like any one of them was going to win it at any moment. It just needed one good pull and it was going to go down. So that, I thought it was a fantastic race. Just the excitement from a spectator view, I thought it was excellent. Plus, I think it's good, you know, that it's a little bit shorter, because then you don't have these guys that are, you know, world first raiders spending 4 weeks trying to grind out for this event, and you know it's a little less wearing down on them, wear and tear, I guess. So
yeah,
you know, I hope, for my personal sake, I hope it's as the quick and short of a race as last one was, just so that it's nice and close.
Yeah.
And
of course,
yep, go ahead.
You'll see those random guilds getting the first 1 or 2 kills, like just what they do. But
yeah, because
I think it's pretty predictable the top teams we're going to see again. Is there any particular team you think that could also kind of participate in the top 3, maybe like top 5, like guilds that you think could stand out? Like, wow, this team's actually got better or not, you know?
So I mean, Big Dumb Gaming Guild is always up there. They're one that, you know, they could potentially get there, but I don't see anyone really competing with the big 3. Because I mean, even Method is just now hitting that big 3 rank after the rebuild. They were, you know, ranked. They were. It was Echo and Limit, or Echo and Liquid, and then Method was down below there. And I don't think that Method is necessarily at the exact same caliber as the other 2, but I think they're close enough that they could sneak away a win. They're definitely still the underdog, I think. But I think it's a lot closer. This is the closest they've ever been, I feel like.
Do you think it's possible that you could be shocked by a team, though, that just, like, got their shit together? Like, do you think
I don't.
remotely possible that, like,
I don't.
Top 3 or 2 or something?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it depends on how it depends on how easy the tier is. But I don't. Last tier was the easiest raid tier that I think we've had in a very, very, very long time, and it was still Lico, Equid, and Method, and no one else was close enough to actually be legit competing for it. I think we had five 5 guilds that were on the final boss when the boss got killed, but you had Liquid and Echo were both at like 10% as far as their best pulls. Method, I think, was at 25%, and the other 2 guilds were at like 60, 65%, hadn't even gotten to phase 2 yet.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, they were a good distance past him.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't mean somebody couldn't come up there, but I wouldn't expect it.
Right.
Um,
I've been watching a lot of streams of people testing the raid, because right now the only content I'm finding on Twitch is either hardcore mode, classic, or PTR testing from a lot of like people that I watch anyways. I
right.
see a lot of people testing the raid and the different bosses that come each week or whatever. I think you can only test one boss a week. At least this week there's only one boss to test. I don't know how they're doing that, but I haven't really been paying attention that much until this recently. But there's like a lot. It's kind of surprising. A lot of the top damaging specs of what I was seeing. This could change, obviously, but it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of melee up there now, as opposed to like casters. I mean, I see everything, to be honest. It just depends on the group. But
Yeah,
I
well, I mean,
keep seeing.
I think we've been
I see
seeing
a
the same
lot.
in Mythic Plus too, in the
Yeah,
PTR. A
yeah,
lot of
a
the,
lot
I
of
think,
melee.
was it other than augmentation? I think the entire top
Like top
7.
five.
I
Yeah,
think the
5 or
entire,
6.
I think the entire top 7 outside of other than augmentation. Augmentation is number 1, and then 2 through 7 is all melee.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think we're seeing a
but
shift as well there
we
to
got
more
we
melee.
got we had like outlaw, assassination, enhanced, red,
Havoc.
havoc. Oh,
I
havoc's
think
way
it.
higher than the one that listed.
Yeah, Havoc was
Havoc
number
was number 1
2, I think.
for melee. Yeah,
Yeah,
number 2 overall. Yeah,
yeah, I think it was.
yeah,
I think it was Havoc, Outlaw, Assassination, either Ret or Enhance. Maybe swap those two. I don't remember, but I think it was that. I think
yeah,
that was the order.
yeah.
Um,
So I mean, it's I think it, I think it's a good thing, because I think range has been kind of dominant this entire expansion.
yeah, I mean, I always prefer melee anyway, just because you get the extra interrupts. That's been my
Yeah, true.
personal preference. But and while we're kind of on the subject of that, I'm so, and it's just tier list. So tier lists don't mean all that much right
Yeah.
now. But I
Yep.
think tanking, if the way that the tier list is looking is accurate, and I've seen several tier lists and they all look very similar. If it's accurate, we might be in for the best season of tanks ever. Because right now the tier list is basically
Everything's viable.
Blood DK might have some OP stuff, but they're expecting the stuff that made it really strong. They're expecting to get nerfed. So
Right.
if it does get nerfed, it will basically mean, like, I think Blood, everything except for Brewmaster and Guardian Druid was A plus, and Guardian Druid and Brewmaster were A minus. So like you're talking everything's in A tier. So they're all
Yeah.
very well balanced and all of them are very viable. And if that
That's good.
actually is how it turns out, that could be amazing to have basically every single tank is good.
Yeah.
That's what they need. I mean, that's what it's tanks. Same with healers. Every healer should be good. Every healer should be very, very good at Mythic Plus. They don't need to have where, oh well, this tank or this healer will be way up here, and these healers and tanks will be way down here. Like, it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
They should strive
So
for balance and everything being strong.
yeah. So I was watching Yoda, that streamer,
Right?
and he was doing some Mythic Plus, so like 23s, whatever. But I think they're only using like one affix, Tyrannic or Fortified. I think is all they're using. But so you can't really get the best look. But the comp that he kept saying, like in his chat, and it was in his title of the stream, I believe, was like, it's like Og, X, Havoc, whatever, and like that's like the DPS comp is kind of shaping out to be like the front runner right now is to have an augmentation with a Havoc Demon Hunter, and he said Mage again. I don't know. I think Mage does look pretty good, but I think there are still some better choices. I think Enhance is really good. I think Red's good. I think Rogue's pretty good, but he's pretty much like, yeah. So he didn't list a tank or a healer, so I think maybe he knows that like all tanks are gonna be mostly viable.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. You're not seeing like people like, okay, you know what? It's Guardian again, and it's Og again, and
Yeah.
it's like
So
that.
I think ideally the way it should be is in this dungeon, these 5 classes should be the meta. But then in this
Yeah,
dungeon, it might be 5 completely different. I think it should change. Like what's the best should honestly be something that changes depending on what dungeon you're in.
yeah,
And that's, I think, worth tanking. I think that's something where we're possibly going to really see that where, well, this tank is better. This, Blood DK is better in this dungeon, but Guardian is better in this dungeon, but Vengeance is better in this one, and Prot Warrior is better in this one. I like something like that makes it. That's what they should be looking to for balance, rather than, well, they're all the same, but this one is just slightly better than all the others in every dungeon. Like, it really should
yeah,
be something where dungeon dependent is where, every tank is good at it, but this tank's better at this dungeon, but this other tank is good at this one. I think the
yeah,
same should be for DPS. Because I think damage, you can change damage, wherever, but you know what? Maybe you have some dungeons where it's smaller packs, smaller pools, and so your more single target oriented classes are going to shine in there. And then you have dungeons with much larger pools where your giant AoE killers are going to be shining in there. Um,
yeah,
One thing they got to avoid is, I think they're gonna be able to avoid it this season. But you're gonna need to avoid Mass Dispel being super OP and able to skip everything, and Mind Soothe skipping everything, and so that Shadow Priest isn't required in every single thing.
yeah.
Part of that is adjusting the way that Mind Soothe and Mass Dispel works. Part of that is also just adjusting
The dungeon,
dungeon
the
position, mob
blood.
positioning in the
Yeah,
dungeons, and then mechanics in dungeons.
yeah. I think from the dungeons that we kind of tested, there's not a whole lot you can skip so far from what we were looking at.
Right.
I'm
I,
sure there is, but from what
so
we both saw, it wasn't.
so yeah,
Didn't
so
seem like too noticeable.
we tested out, what was it, Waycrest, Darkheart Thicket, and Blackrock
Talzar.
Hole. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Ataldazar.
yeah, the
Um,
shrink. Yeah.
it was Darkheart Thicket, Ataldazar, and
Okay.
Waycrest. So
Crest.
so Darkheart has some options, but I don't think it's really like oh, these mobs are harder, so we should skip these. It's more of and those mobs just kind of out of the way, so there's no reason to go after them. Um,
Right. Yeah.
Ataldazar, I think the route's not going to change much differently than it used to be. They already did address the one big pull before the totem boss.
Totem boss.
They
Yeah.
already nerfed that, so it's not so important to skip that. So I think that'll also be big. Waycrest, I like what they did, where they opened up all the doors. So it's not going to be a rotating route
Right.
determined by doors. It is going to be, hey, you have tons of mobs in here. Like, if you kill everything in there, you're probably talking like 130, 140%. So you can
Yeah.
skip a lot in there. And groups will be able to pick and choose what they want to do, what they don't want to do. And I think that's going to make that a lot better. It could be determined. I mean, it could be something where on tyrannical weeks you have one route based off of which bosses you want to lust. So you want to get to X boss first, and then do this one that you don't need lust for second, then do this one that you need lust for third, then the fourth one, and then the final boss for lust. Might be something where unfortified, well, this trash pack's really hard, so let's do this pool first and go and do this boss first, since since lust is that way. Who knows? I think Waycrest is setting up to be kind of the ideal, in my opinion, of how dungeons should be built, to where you have lots of trash and you do not have to pull all of it, and you have a lot of options of what you want to pull and what you don't want to pull. I think that's how every dungeon, in my opinion, should be, where you have multiple variations, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to go after. I think that's the best way to do it, rather than having something like Vortex Pinnacle, where you have there's 2 mobs you can skip, and that's it. And it's not a matter of, oh well, these are really difficult, so let's skip it. It's just a matter of all I can skip. Yeah.
Yeah. So before I forget, just from watching those streamers, I'm just gonna go back to that for a second.
Yep.
It's something I saw that was promising, is that with the tier set, Devastation was one of the top casters in the raid from what I was watching. I think
Nice.
the number one was Affliction Lock. And Demo were kind of up there. I saw Kalamazzi running Affliction today, and he was top or second top of casters on. They're not a whole group because most of the top two that I kept seeing was double enhanced shamans. But so it's I bring it up for my sake. I like the fact that if I want to raid, I can play dev and still be viable, which is cool. It's yeah, it's not like a top. It's performing well. It's not weak. It's not too strong. It's balanced pretty well right now.
Good.
I don't know how well it'll do in Mythic Plus, just because I'm sure it's fine, but it just goes back to that same thing. Why take Dev when you can take Og, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, sorry, yeah, that was somewhat of what I was seeing, was just seeing some casters in the top 10, most of it was melee, but yeah,
Right.
for my sake, yeah, I like seeing the Invoker still being good.
All right, so moving on, we had some changes to professions come out this week, which it was ironic because I literally just ranted about how professions were going to make the gearing so much harder because they had it so low, and like not 10 minutes later, boom, this news breaks. In the most
The
recent,
first ad or the second one?
well, the both of them at the same time. They broke at the same time.
Oh, no, I meant like the links in the notes.
Both of them, yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing is that the cost has increased for aspect crafting. Honestly, it's I don't see it an increase because it's the same cost that it was this season. You're gonna need 60, I think it was, right? Yes, yeah. So
60, yeah.
yeah,
45.
so it was 45, which crests are basically just replacing crest fragments. So you're going to get 12 crests when you time a dungeon. You're going to get 5 when you don't time a dungeon. So it's the same thing as crest fragments, but crest fragments don't exist. And then all the cost of like to upgrade gear, it's going to be 15 of crest rather than 1 like it was this time.
Yeah.
So to create an enchanted aspect dreaming crest, you're going to need 4 of them to change that. Which is, now I will say what is interesting is that for the whelpling and the worms, you're only going to need 45 for the worm and 30 for the whelpling. So that's that is different than how it was currently, because right now you still need 4 worm crests to turn into an enchanted worm crest.
Right.
But they said the reasoning for this was because of the next bit of news, which I don't think it is. I think it's really just, they realized that's kind of different. It's cheaper than what it was this past season, so let's change that to match the seasons. But they did increase the highest item level for crafted gear can now be crafted at a 486 item level instead of 483. Now, it's not necessarily... It's better. It's a lot better than 483 because top item level I believe is 489. So like your vault dungeons will be 483 whenever you get the gear out of your vault. You can upgrade that to 489. So max item level is going to be 489 for any vault gear and stuff like that. So 486, 480, yeah, 486. Well, 447 is the vault gear now. Not 450. 450 is only stuff you can get from a very few specific. Yeah, 450 is just from a few specific mythic raid items.
Okay, yeah.
But my big question, because even then the crafted gear is still less than the vault gear fully upgraded. But I am curious, and I don't think it is, but the way that they talk, it says aspect crafted gear was crafted at myth 2 out of 4 item level, but I don't think that it's actually upgradable. But if it is upgradable, then at that point it doesn't matter. At that point, whatever, then you can upgrade it and you can get 489. But I think it's going to be capped at 486. I don't think you can upgrade the crafted gear in season 3. I know in season 2 you can't upgrade it. But either way, jumping from 483 to 486 is better because I would much rather be able to, have best in slot 489 for a bunch of stuff, but then 486 crafted to make up what I couldn't get best in slot for.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit better. Makes it a little more acceptable to be using crafted gear instead of myth gear.
Yeah.
But ideally, I still would have liked to have seen them bump that to the same as the fully upgraded myth gear, just because people worked hard for the professions. Damn it! It's like it is.
It's been harder this expansion than most, eh?
Oh, by far, this is the hardest professions have ever been to get up, because you have to grind it out every single week. Um, and like me, I've been grinding out my professions for 10, 12 weeks now, and I'm not even close to having everything maxed out. I'm maybe halfway to having everything upgraded.
Right.
So it's a big grind that people have invested their time into. So for them to just kind of come out and nerf all the crafted gear for this next season, kind of a slap in the face to the people that have grinded out and put all the work into professions. So to see this change, it's better, but still not great. Um, but it's whatever. And then let's see. We also, another change with Crest is that you will be able to trade Crest up this season, which is going to be somewhat beneficial. I guess it's nice because all the extra worm and whelpling and drake crests that you get, you'll be able to at least use them for something now, rather than just have to sell them. Because right now I know like I've got 50,000 whelpling crests on my mains that I can't do anything with other than sell them for gold. So at least with this, I can start upgrading them, and maybe those whelpling crests turn into like eventually into one aspect crest. Not much,
Yeah.
but it's something.
Yeah.
And I think what the number is where is it? How much is it? 15. I'm looking to see here what the number is. Looks so they don't know. Okay,
Whelpling.
so they don't know
So
exactly.
it's
Yeah, whelpling to Drake.
is 90 for Whelpling to 15 Drake.
Yes. So they don't know the rest of the
Drake
costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know the rest of them. But yeah, I would expect 90 to 15 is probably going to be the ratio we'll see for everything. Um.
Well, I mean, it's still good though.
Yeah, so
I
that's
do
that's
like.
essentially 6 crests for 1 crest.
Yeah.
If you're talking in like our current crest terms. So it's whatever. If you're trying to get let's say you're doing whelpling crest. Right now I've got close to 50 whelpling crests, which would be 50 times 15, 750 whelpling crests next season. That's what the equivalent of that is. So I could turn those into 50 Drake quests. That's about all you can do. At that point, you still don't have enough to actually upgrade. But you know what? It's whatever. It makes it more beneficial to go ahead and oh, what's that? You need a carry on a 12 key? Okay, I'll go ahead and take my main, even though I don't need Drake Crest or Worm Crest or whatever.
Yeah.
It'll still get you the ability to turn those in at some kind of level. So, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be beneficial.
Yeah.
And then we did have some dungeon tuning. So not a ton of stuff. Well, actually, it did have quite a bit of stuff. So Waycrest Manor had a couple of abilities nerfed. Well, one ability nerfed, one ability buffed. The Huntmaster Grath's Blazing Toss was reduced by 33%, and the Thistle Acolyte's Drain Essence damage increased by 10%. The Heartsbane Triad boss got their Aura of Dread damage increased by 11%. The Soulbound Goliath had its damage buffed quite a bit. Soul Thorns was increased by 62%. Wildfire increased by 87%. So some big buffs to Soulbound Goliath. In the Tall Dazar, let's see, we had Just a rain change on an ability for the reanimated honor guards. Slight buff to the Zachuli Witch Doctor. Volcall had a nerf. Toxic pulls damage reduced by 25%. Yasma had a big buff. The Shadow Remains damage increased by 84%. You want to take us to the next couple there?
Of
the dungeon tuning? Yeah, Throne of Tides.
You take it on. I'll do the next.
All right.
Some of the class tuning. You know more about the dungeon tuning than me.
So the Najar, Sentinel's Crushing Depth, and Throne of Tides. The Healing Absorbs reduced by 25%. The Mindmender Gursa. Terrifying Vision cast time was increased to 5 seconds instead of 4, so it probably gives... I'm guessing it's interruptible, so that gives you more time to interrupt it. Or perhaps... it fears people in line of sight, so it gives you more time to line of sight it. Ozymat, the Blotting Barrage damage reduced by 4%, just a slight nerf there. Ink Blast now only targets players, so it's not going to target pets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Infinites, that's another dungeon that we need to test out and see how that works. Dawn of the Infinites. The Alliance NPCs and the time loss battlefield now give a count, so that's a plus, more percentage there. The Timeline Marauders displaced Chrono Sequence cast time is increased 2.5 seconds from 1.5. Infinite Time Benders Dizzying Sands now does damage. I guess it was bug and wasn't doing any damage. Infinite Twilight's Magus' Epoch Bolt damage is increased by 133%. That's a big buff there.
That is huge.
And the cast time increased to 2.5 seconds instead of 2 seconds. I'm going to hope that's an interruptible cast, honestly. My guess is it probably will be.
Yeah.
A lot of creatures' Infinite Fury damage is reduced by 25%, so that's a big nerf. The Timeline Marauders' Infinite Schism damage was reduced by 25%, so another nerf there.
Yeah.
The Time Lost Battlefield, this rated Axiom, reduced by 10%. Chronolord Deos, Infinite Corruption was unavoidable damage is reduced by 28.6%. So that's good. Yeah, anytime that unavoidable damage is reduced, that's good.
Yeah.
Darkheart Thicket, the Festerhide Grizzly's corruption pool damage is now increased by 42%. Frenzied Nightclaw's Grievous Rip initial damage increased by 25%. Some buffs to Darkheart Thicket. Archdruid Gladalis. Primal Rampage now ignores line of sight. Interesting. So probably the strategy people were using, and they decided nope. Shade of Xavius, Feed on the Weak damage increased by 50%. So Darkheart Thicket got some pretty big buffs.
It did, yeah.
Blackrook Hold, the Risen Scout Knife Dance damage increased by 14%, and the cast time is reduced to 1 second instead of 2.5. So that's not going to be interruptible.
Yeah.
Ghostly Retainer's Soul Blade initial damage increased by 60%, and periodic damage increased by 78%. So some big buffs there. Risen Lancer's Raven Dives animation should now only show. It's a little fix on that one. The Everbloom, here's the last one. Twisted Abomination's Poison Claw range decreased to 10 yards instead of 30 yards. So that's probably just to keep it from getting hit by like ranged players and stuff randomly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they had a lot of dungeon changes there, which is good to see. You know, I want to see a lot of tuning.
Yes, it means they're actually paying attention to the testing.
Yes. And then
testing and feedback.
Yep, and we got some class tuning to go over now. So let's let you take it away here.
Before I take it away, we're going to start with the one of Vengeance. Since you know Vengeance, you can talk about that.
All right.
Yeah, since I have no idea about Vengeance, so it's all on you.
All right, so yeah, Demon Hunter, any means necessary now correctly shows the same percent value. That's just a little fix. Cycle of Binding now works with precise sigils, which Cycle of Binding. Yes, I'm trying to remember here, because I think Cycle of Binding is a buff to. Let me look at the talent calculator real quick, because that's a buff to the sigils.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something I use right now, but I think it's something that will be used, because I think sigils are going to be a big That's like, there we go. Talent calculator. Demon Hunter, Vengeance. Cycle of Binding is, oh yes. So Cycle of Binding will anytime an enemy gets hit with a sigil, it reduces the cooldowns of your sigils by 3 seconds.
Okay.
Um, so I'm guessing it just was bugging out. Now, what I'm
Right.
curious about with Cycle of Binding, reading that here, afflicting an enemy with a sigil reduces the cooldown of your sigils by 3 seconds. If it is that just afflicting, is that just using a sigil, or is it every enemy that's hits by it will reduce it by 3 seconds? I'm gonna test that
Yeah.
out because
You're gonna have to. Yeah.
that wording makes it sound like every enemy that gets hit with it will reduce the cooldown. So if your
Yeah.
sigil hits 5 enemies, it's 15 seconds, and that could
Yeah.
be super OP.
Yeah.
My guess is it's just whenever you actually cast it. Anyway, so inertia will now trigger correctly after using Immolation Aura twice before using Fell Rush. For Vengeance specifically, though, we had
Yeah.
some retaliation damages increased by 50%. That is, I believe, just part of our Demon Spikes, I want to say. I think it's a buff to Demon Spikes retaliation is. Let me see here. Maybe not. Maybe it's part of the tier set. I don't think it is. I don't remember
Yeah.
where that was. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's the Demon Spikes buff. So yeah,
Okay.
Demon Spikes up is just causes a little bit extra damage. That's a pretty good increase though. 50% increase is
50%.
nice.
It's a nice chunk of change.
Yep. Sigil of Flame with Ascending Flame now applies Frailty when hit with another Sigil of Flame, so that just probably will extend the Frailty buff. It sounds like. Little fixed Chains of Anger. And then these changes are going to be happening throughout the week. Fiery Brand duration increased by 2 seconds, which is big. That's very big because it's potentially 2 extra ticks of damage unless they're going to flatten out the damage to match. But more importantly, it makes the defensive buff from it way stronger. That gives you 2 extra seconds of it. Sheer damage increased by 10%. No one cares. We're not using sheer. Fractured damage increased by 10%. Nice little buff to single target. Soul Cleave damage increased by 15%. No one cares. We're not really using Soul Cleave other than just to dump Fury into. I mean, we'll take the damage increase, but like it's not a main ability. Spirit Bomb damage increased by 8%. That is big. That's a nice big damage. That's one of our bigger damaging abilities, so that's helpful. Soul Berry absorb value increased by 25%. Doesn't matter. We're probably not using that. Fel Dev damage increased by 30%. That's a nice amount of damage increase there, so that will be good for sure.
Yep.
Stoke the Flames damage bonus for Fel Devastation reduced to 35% instead of 40%. Stoke the Flames was the damage, just the damage increase on it, so it's whatever. I guess that kind of evens out a little bit with the regular base damage and buff. The Fel Flame Purification and Revel in Pain talents have swapped locations, which, looking at that, it basically means Fel Flame Fortification is a requirement to get now, which, I don't know if that's better or worse. I guess it's probably better, honestly, because that Fel Flame Fortification I think is going to be decent, especially in more magic abilities. All Fel Flame Fortification is your Immolation Aura will also reduce the magic damage you take by 12% whenever you have the buff up. So that's decent, I think. Deflecting Spikes, this is what I wanted to look at. Deflecting Spikes is no longer connected to Calcified Spikes or Retaliation, which is interesting because that forces you into taking either Sheer Fury or Fracture, which means you're already taking Fracture anyway, and it forces you into taking Ascending Flame if you want the other one, which I think Ascending Flame is probably going to be really used pretty much anyway, because that's allows it increases Sigil of Flame's initial damage by 50% and allows multiple applications of Sigil of Flame. Although I don't know how you would get multiple applications. Unless that cycle of binding does actually. Well, I guess since you have sigils can hit with one additional charge with the illuminated sigils. You could technically have two. But I wonder if cycle of binding does affect it for each one. I need to test that out because that makes me curious how that's going to work. And then there's just a little change in the tier set bonus, which is whatever. Just cause the cooldown to not get reduced. Which, oh, that's right. That's what I should look at. 10.2 tier set bonus vengeance. So I keep forgetting where tier set is. So it is. So every 40 fury that we spend reduces the cooldown on Sigil of Flame. So that could be. And that Sigil of Flame build does sound really interesting. I can't. I need to test it at some point and actually see because it sounds like a really fun play style.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna constantly be using Sigil of Flame. It sounds like, which would be really interesting.
That'd be kind of cool. Nice little change.
Because Sigil of Flame is something like you use it, but it doesn't do that much damage.
Yeah. Well, there's that new talent increase the damage by 70% of the initial damage.
Well, that and they'll also buff. I mean, there's multiple talents that we have to increase the damage.
Oh.
So we have the one you're talking about it, where Sigil Flame deals 35 increased damage and generates 1 additional fury per target.
Well, I think it's a 2-point talent, right? So it goes to 70.
Yes, 70 and 2 fury per target. But we also have a talent in the Vengeance tree that increases the initial damage by 50%. We have a talent that gives us 2 charges for all of our sigils. That also, whenever enemies are afflicted by Sigil of Flame, we have a 20% increased chance to parry attacks from them.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have some big buffs. The Vengeance also causes the periodic damage, which has a chance to flare up, shattering an additional soul fragment from the target and dealing additional damage. The cooldown reduction as well. When we attack a target afflicted by Sigil of Flame, your damage and healing are increased by 2%, and your maximum health is increased by 2% for 8 seconds, stacking up to 5. So potentially, with the Sigil of Flame build, you could have 10% increased damage and healing and 10% increased health the entire time. So it's got a lot of buffs that I think could be interesting to play it in.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it. I that's why because I was thinking, man, I may not actually main Vengeance because I just was thinking with the way it's everything it's losing from its tier set, I was thinking, I don't think it's gonna be very good. It's gonna lose so much. It's gonna need a lot of changes. But I think they've brought those changes. I still think we're gonna be doing less damage, but it's not gonna be as big of a difference as I was expecting. And I think defensively. I'd still like to see us get blur. But I think we're gonna have some. I think we might be. Again, we're not going to be as durable or as much damage because this season's tier set bonus was just. I mean, it was just huge for defensiveness and damage. But I do think we're going to be in decent shape. So I think I will still be maining my Vengeance for next season.
Cool. Yep.
But we'll see.
All right. Moving on.
Go ahead and take it away.
So, it's a couple changes. Let's go over real quick and try and get into some of the other stuff I was reading. I'll start with balance. It's got a mastery issue fixed to increase damage of certain abilities that weren't getting the mastery. A couple of those would be Wild Mushroom, which is the AoE mushroom. It's actually pretty strong. Powerful Goldrin, which I believe is when you shoot a Star Surge, you have that chance to proc that little wolf that flies out as well. And Orbital Strike, which is more of a PvP choice, I think. But yeah, it's still good. Guardian had the blood frenzy, now grants 3 rage. Each time threshold damage was 2. Monk. Escape from reality is now 1. Rank count was 2. I'm not sure exactly what ability that is. Brewmaster, they fixed himself from the tier set. I really don't know much about it. I don't know if you know anything about it or not. I don't really understand it, but moving on, they got the super changes. I'm not going to go into that because I really don't have an opinion because I don't play healers. Neither Holy Pally, on to Rogue. So there's been some buffs and some nerfs for Rogue that I will go over. Vigor, which is a talent that gives you max energy increase and energy regeneration increase as well. They nerfed it from 15% out of the two talent pick to 10%, so it went down 5%. Subterfuge crushes correctly when broken, not a vanish, or another subterfuge is active. That kind of helps with assassination if they're using indiscriminate carnage to spread your dots. Lethality, now that they're actually Blade Flurry with talented and deft maneuvers. Lethality is the damage increased of your critical attacks. Grand Melee, which is a I don't know. I thought Grand Melee was a Roll the Bones buff, but I could be wrong. Anyways, the damage is dealt correctly now. And Heavy Hitter now interacts with Blade Flurry if talented deft maneuvers. That's just more outlaw changes. Assassination, indiscriminate carnage, distance to nearby targets now calculated from caster player rather than the affected target. That's basically just fixing up like how indiscriminate carnage works now is if you're in stealth or shadow dance or subterfuge is up or whatever, your Groat and Rupture go to another target. I think it goes to 2, so I don't know if it hits 3 targets total. And it just makes it easier to like target ones that are kind of farther away that don't have it, as opposed to it being RNG. Poison Bomb now works with Caustic Splatter. Basically, Caustic Splatter is when you have Rupture up and you use Mutilate, which is your single target ability. It makes this Caustic Splatter debuff that does a lot of poison damage and splash damage. It actually does a ton of damage. So Poison Bomb basically would just be increased by the Caustic Spatter, which is cool. King's Bane initial damage can critically strike with Cold Blood. I wouldn't recommend doing that because the damage from King's Bane is actually a build up over like 5 to 10 seconds. So its initial damage with Cold Blood wouldn't be worth it in my opinion. Eternal Bleeding applies to mouse over target if you're using a mouse over macro. I don't run Eternal Bleeding unless it's PvP, I believe. Dragon Temper Blaze that correctly applies to enemy poison. I think that just increases your poisons, I don't remember. Outlaw Killing Spree self-damage now reduced during cheat death, which is just a fix. Crack Shot now works with Sepsis. I see people running Sepsis a little bit as Outlaw. I'm not sure if it's really going to be used much. I'm not sure. And Crack Shot also correctly triggers Dispatch from between the eyes for all stealth conditions. I think Crack Shot's the one where if you're in stealth or Shadow Dance, your between the eyes makes you also use Dispatch at the same time, and it makes it between the eyes has no cooldown. So the rotation, I don't know if you know much about Outlaw, but the rotation that people were doing in PvE for like single target and AoE was build up combo points between the eyes and automatically dispatch. You just combo points between the eyes, combo points between the eyes. You just kept doing that over and over until you go out of stealth or out of Shadow Dance. It was very strong. They nerfed it by 25% a couple weeks ago. It's still very good though. Subtlety. There's some changes very similar to the assassination with how Rupture will spread to nearby targets. Just skip some of the stuff because it's not really important. Shadow Techniques takes premonition into account when use 2 extra combo points are generated from having slice and attack. That's just a little quality of life. Dark Brew now correctly increases damage from instant and wound poison. Wound poison is your MS, or this is what PvPers call MS. It's the one that reduces healing. You don't use that in PvE, so it would just be the instant poison. Sepsis now grants full comp points with Shadow Blades. So Shadow Blades works as it's a 20-second buff. You do 20% increased damage, and every combo point generator fills your combo points. So you just hit a ton of damage.
Nice.
Moving on, this quick. From what I've been seeing on streamers, especially today, watching the raid, is that no one takes elemental, or not very rarely, because they got a big nerf to their tier set. I don't know if you can see that. They nerfed the elemental blast from your 2 set by 30%.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 set, now the bonus lava burst still 65%, was 100, so it's another big nerf.
Yeah.
And then the lava burst burn is reduced by 5% as well. And then going on to the 4 set, they fixed an issue, caused some damage modifiers to apply multiple times to the lava burst burn effect, so it's another kind of nerf. And further beyond, can now extend the duration of ascendance by up to 100%, was 150. So Elemental got the axe recently.
They did.
The last couple of days. Yeah, so I think they're strong, but their tier set is now a lot weaker. I'm kind of surprised because I don't see Elemental really this entire expansion performing top as a caster. Really, I mean, there's just been better casters. I don't know. I think from when I was testing it, I think the 2 and 4 set were extremely strong for Elemental, and it was a lot of fun. That's the best thing about it, was that it was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's some pretty big nerfs. Resto got some tier set bonuses as well. 4 set increasing healing word time by 20% was 15, so 5% increase. And the chain heal got its mana cost reduced by 0.4%. And that is all for that. The only other thing I have to go over is this last the other link that we had there.
Yeah, a little bit of tuning there. I'll go
Yeah,
ahead and cover the Demon Hunter stuff real quick on that.
Yeah, go for it.
The basic emanation aura damage got reduced by 8%, which it probably needed it for Havoc. Vengeance, I probably didn't need it, but you know, whatever. We get the hit anyway. But Sigil of Flame duration was increased by 2 seconds, so that could, I don't know if that'll be more damage, or if it will again just spread out the damage over that. But either way, with the defensive buffs that we get from Sigil of Flame, that'll be a nice buff defensively for Vengeance. Yeah. And then Havoc had Demon Hide magic damage bonus reduced to 4% instead of 5%, so kind of nerfing the survivability a little bit.
If I remember correctly, the Demon Hide magic damage reduction in Legion was 10%, I thought. Made him very good for like arenas when Legion was a lot of warlocks and stuff. If I'm remembering correctly.
I don't feel like Demon Hide magic. I don't think that was a thing in Legion though. That's a new talent.
They have that. Sorry, it's that passive. That's like something to do with their tattoos. The name of it or something. I think there was like a magic reduced thing that had like. I think it was sort of had tattoos in the name of it or something. I don't know if you're looking it up or not.
Yeah, I'll look it up now while you're going at.
Alright, I'll just cover this battleground stuff real quick. So for both Wrathy Basin, Deepwind Gorge, and actually all 3, and Eye of the Storm, the amount of the resources you get from having bases has been increased by a decent amount. So it just makes the games a little bit quicker. Well, for if you're like 4 or 5 bases, it was quite the difference. But yeah, did you find it?
Yeah, it's just demonic wards. Tattoos reduce damage or magic damage taken by 10%. That's something we still have. That's not a. That's just a
game. I thought the Demon Hide magic thing was.
The demon. So the Demon Hide is a new talent that they've got.
Oh, okay.
That Havoc specifically has. It is. Where is it? That's the current talent. Here we go. Yeah, that's so that's like all the way over to the right in the 3rd row, the Demon Hunter talents. It kind of replaced where they had some stuff. Yeah, so that reduces magic damage and physical damage. Just kind of a survivability buff there.
Yeah. Just a couple more changes. 3 classes. We have Discipline getting damage reduced. Tome and Healing increased. Purge damage increased, and Shower Pain damage increased. So, I think it's kind of a weird change to reduce everything and buff stuff by like 5 and 10, 9 and stuff, but interesting. Outlaw got a 6% nerf across the board, so that was kind of needed with how it's performing in Mythic Plus. I do think Outlaw, from what I was looking at today, was that Outlaw is going to be horrible for PvP next patch, which is fine. It is what it is. There's 2 of the specs you can play, but yeah. So I think that was needed PvE wise, and I don't think it was needed PvP wise. Arms got a buff, which they needed PvE wise and didn't need PvP wise, which is Mortal Strike increased with 10%, Overpower increased 10%. That Warriors, Mortal Strike, and Overpower were already hitting very hard in PvP, so it's not. I wouldn't say it's making the best class, but it's definitely gonna bump them up for sure.
Right.
And the last thing is that you cannot use Hero, Bloodlust, Hero, Time Warp, Primal Rage, Fury, whatever you want to call it, in rated battlegrounds. So that's RPGs, the group ones, or you get the solo shuffle PGs that are coming out. You can use Lust now for that.
Nice.
Which is cool. So many classes have it now. It's not like you're like forced to bring a mage now when there's like 4 classes that have Lust now, or 5 classes, or what, 4 or 5, I don't know. But yeah, it's just a nice little change.
They also, while you're talking a little bit about PvP stuff, they did increase some of the resource acquisition for a couple of battlegrounds, and increase some movement speed as well.
Yeah.
So, speed looks like it probably is meant to speed up some of the battlegrounds,
Right.
which is also why they're probably bringing Lust in there, just trying to speed up the how long certain battlegrounds take.
Yeah.
Still won't catch me in them.
Yeah. So I guess like that last one I put in, I was just curious at your opinion. What kind of classes you think? I don't know if you haven't paid much attention or not, but race for world first. What kind of classes are you guaranteed to see?
Augmentation.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see 3 to 4 augmentation evokers for Mythic Raid. I think it's what you're gonna be looking at, 3 to 4.
I think we're gonna get Demon Hunter for sure. Havoc.
Yeah, you're
probably.
gonna probably Havoc. So for tanks, I don't know. It depends on which one's doing the most single target damage. Which right now I think Vengeance is kind of struggling single target wise. So I don't see Vengeance as a tank. I think you'll see it Havoc.
You'll get a Warrior for sure.
Maybe
And
Warriors don't historically do
that's
great in raid.
I think it's just their buff.
Oh yeah, not as a you'll probably see like an arms or a fury warrior. I don't think you'll see a prot warrior necessarily.
Yeah,
I think
Fury.
My guess is you'll see a brewmaster tank, especially because I think their damage is going to be decent, but just progression wise, they can take hits like none other in raid.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see Hunter. I don't think Hunter's Mark's good enough. When you can bring other classes. I do think with the heavy melee that we'll see at least one enhanced shaman for Wind Fury. Because we have like rogues, havoc, enhance, warriors, whatever else melee you have. I further say this. I did see Yoda playing Feral Druid testing today, and he was doing very good on it for single target. Thought we might see a Feral. I don't know. I think we'll guaranteed see a Druid for Mark. I don't know what else.
So what
Like,
are your tank guesses? I'm gonna go ahead and say a monk and prot warrior is probably what we're
I'm
gonna
gonna,
see.
s-
Because I
I'm
think
gonna
prot
say,
warrior will do some decent single target damage, but I think monk is gonna be there for the defensive capabilities they've got.
I think Monk, Blood Death Knight.
Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking was Blood Death Knight. Um,
I think we're only gonna see 2 augmentations.
all right, so you say 2 augmentations.
Yeah.
I think we'll see more than that. Because you can only be targeted by 2, and the buffs are going to cover 5 people total. With 20 people in there, you're going to want everybody with the buffs. So I think you're going to see 3 to 4.
Also good with 2. We'll see.
Okay. I think we both agreed Havoc.
Yep.
Um,
I think enhances for sure as well.
Enhance. Yeah, because you're going to want a shaman probably. Whether
It
it's
has
Elliot.
not even just the fact that it brings Wind Fury, but its damage from just watching today was insane. Do you think they're gonna bring a hunter?
Yeah, I mean Beastmaster I think is I don't know, is Beastmaster performing well in raid? I don't know.
I didn't see any today set the tests I watched today, or if it did, they weren't in the top 10 DPS that I was watching, or like the logs I was watching. I think BM is strong. I just think people are just testing better classes. I feel like that hunter's mark, that 5% damage above 80%, will be useful for learning the fights and pushing phases, but for executing an entire fight, I don't see a hunter being used.
I feel like hunters typically do really strong single target damage. So that's the only thing I'm wondering about. Mythic Plus.
Maybe, I don't know. I know survival looks really good Mythic Plus. I know BM looks good Mythic Plus, and marksman kind of sucks right now.
Right.
I still think we'll see a warrior for Battle Show. You have Pro Warrior in there. I think we'll see a Fury Warrior.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. So obviously, like we're gonna see a mage at some point. Probably.
Right.
What do you think? Probably fire. That's what I'm thinking.
I think. I,
Maybe
I
arcane.
saw Hopeful that mage running Arcane today, and he was doing crazy numbers.
Yeah, I'd say I'm gonna say arcane mage probably.
Me too. I think Arcane's tier set's really. I think Fire tier set's insane, but I think Arcane is just too good right now.
Unholy DK. I think. Are they still gonna pump? I feel like Unholy always does a really strong single target.
Their tier set is just so much based from Mythic Plus now. I don't know. Like their whole tier set's about summoning some undeads with your apocalypse that cleave 4 targets with their attacks. I'm sure they'll probably get one because like Army of the Dead's insane, and like their single target damage is usually pretty crazy. But I don't know how well their tier set will perform with other classes, but we'll see.
So let's see. How many is that? We need because we're gonna have 4 to 5 healers, 2 tanks. So we got probably 13, 14 DPS.
I think we see Mistweaver healer.
You say Mistweaver healer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
depends.
Too much into it. I haven't looking too much into it, but that girl Mega Set was testing today, and she was pretty good on us for Mistweaver. But like anybody that's good at the class can make it look good in like the testing. But I mean, it looked like it's performing pretty well. I think we'll see Disc Priest as well as a healer, because apparently they're insane.
Yes, yeah, I agree. This is in a really good spot. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see Mistweaver.
No?
No, just because you've already got the buff from
I know.
Brewmaster. Oh, true, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't say Brewmaster. I said Brewmaster Blood Decay. Yeah, still there.
Yeah.
Maybe not then. I don't know.
That's the only thing. Yeah, I feel like you're only going to see one monk. You're not going to see Windwalker. Windwalker, from what I've been seeing, Windwalker is really, really not looking good for the upcoming season.
Yeah, Windwalker looks horrible. I think.
What are the classes? Oh, we're going to see Boomkins. Boomkins we're going to see, right?
I'd
say so.
In Hopeful Stream, he was number 1 Arcane, number 2 was Boomkin on his damage list. And I was watching Yoda, and he was 3rd on overall as Feral, so I don't know. Probably?
Boomkin. It's going to be Boomkin. Feral's never going to be good. Blizzard hates Feral.
It's actually performing really well right now, though.
It won't. They'll nerf it.
Well,
Blizzard hates Feral. Blizzard hates Feral. Feral has not been good for 5 expansions. Blizzard hates Feral. Yeah, they will. Blizzard, I'm telling you, Blizzard hates Feral. Blizzard will nerf Feral. They absolutely hate Feral.
I don't know.
Alright, so you're going with Feral? Or are you going with Boomkin?
Feral or Boomkin, I don't know. I think either one will work.
Gotta pick one.
I picked Boomkin, but I still think Feral's good.
Yeah, what the heck? That's not what I was trying to do. There we go. Why is that all switching? What the fuck is going on? I don't know what this is doing. This is all messed up now.
That's all good. 2 Augs. We might see a Dev Booker.
Dev, yeah, I can see it.
They're performing pretty well in raid. But granted, they have tier set, and the tier set for Dev is huge.
You said Boomkin, so put that in over here. What else are we missing? Let's see. What else are we missing? Because we're gonna want.
I don't think we see a rogue, to be honest.
I mean, aren't there? I mean, isn't assassination probably still going to be really good single target?
I just I've not seen people testing it, so I don't have an opinion on it yet. From testing personally, I think they're very solid single target, better multi-target for sure.
I think we see assassination. I'm putting assassination
in. Yeah, it's gonna be assassination subtlety. Subtlety's single target burst is insane with the new Shadow Blades.
I'd say Holy Pally for healing, probably. You're gonna have Pallies in there. How's Rhett doing single target?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I
think there's potential for a Rhett Pally, I bet.
I bet you we can see a Rhett for sure.
What about Holy Pally? You think you'll see Holy Pally?
No.
Really?
I just saw some nerfs.
I don't care about the nerfs. Holy Pally does big damage and big single target heals. Probably some of the strongest single target heals. Plus, I think you're gonna want. I think you're gonna have 2 Pallies in there for the different auras they've got, yeah. I think you're just
Yeah.
gonna see a ret and a holy, I'm guessing.
I honestly think it could be a shot in the dark. I could see Prot Pally maybe doing good this tier.
I don't think they do very good single target though. That's my only issue with Prot Pally. Prot Pally is very damage profile is pretty weak. There haven't been any real changes. And single target Prot Pally is terrible.
Fair enough.
They're a
I
lot
think it's
stronger. If we're so from tanking perspective, Monk's the best for progression just because of the damage they can take and how they take it.
yeah.
But Protware, I think, probably is going to be your strongest single target damage.
Okay.
Because their shield bash is very, very, very strong with the right
Okay.
talent build.
I'll fix what I'm saying then. I hope we see Prot Pally. I think they look really cool. They look cool with their abilities, like their Avenging Shield throwing stuff or whatever is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all AoE stuff though. That's what I'm saying. Because that's the one thing that I noticed playing Prot Pally on boss fights. Outside of Judgment, you don't have single target. Like everything is AoE. Everything they do is AoE based. Hammer of Wrath AoE, Shield of Righteous, or Avenger Shield AoE, Shield of Righteous AoE. They're built for AoE damage, and they don't even pump that much AoE damage either. Like they're really not that strong damage wise. They're much better at just support healing.
Ooh, we haven't covered this one. I think we might see a Warlock.
I was just gonna ask you about Warlock. What kind of Warlock, if we get one?
It's hard. I think Affliction, to be honest. I think Affliction single target is nuts. That being said, so is Demonology. So I honestly don't know enough about Warlocks to decide. And like I said earlier in the podcast, I was watching testing today, and I saw an Affliction and a Demo battling for second and third spot or whatever on the DPS meters.
Nice.
I don't know. I want to say Affliction because I like Affliction more than Demo, but Demo its Tyrant's insane. The new Vile Fiend's insane. I don't know. I do think we'll see at least one Warlock though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Affliction because I think that's probably the last for what I'm looking at in my comp. I think it's the last thing you're probably gonna get. Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got Holy. So that's 10. So you probably got 3 more spots.
I'm gonna say Rogue, but I don't know which spec.
You gotta pick one. Because we're making our predictions. All right. Sub Rogue, and then you probably need 1 more spot. What warrior? Because you don't have any warrior in there yet.
Fury. I was talking to Cake today on the stream, and I was just kind of asking some opinions and stuff. He thinks Arms is just in a horrible position. And when I was watching Yoda, they had 2 Fairy Warriors. Not saying what best comp is when people are playing that day, but that Fairy Warriors doing okay damage. I think we see Fury. I think we see Fury. Yeah. That being said, I mean, it's either be Fairy Warrior or Prot Warrior. I don't know, but we're gonna have one of them for sure.
All right, so you got room for 1 more DPS.
Okay. I don't think we see Shadow Priest. I think they're awful.
But well, and I guess you get your stand buff from the Disc Priest. Never mind.
One more DPS. Do I have Dev?
I'm gonna say we're gonna see 2 Disc Priests, honestly. That
Drawing
gives
a
me
blank.
5 healers.
I'm trying to think. I think for progression we might see Hunter.
Hunter, yeah.
For Mark, I think
Marksman.
that 5% damage buff plus 80% will help people get pushing to other phases quicker. And
True, yeah.
I don't know if that's Marksman. I think it's gonna be BM.
BM?
Yeah. Marksman just doesn't look very good. BM has a really strong tier set.
Okay, so that rounds out our, yeah, DPS at least. What about healer? Yeah, Mistweaver and Disc Priest.
Disc, Resto Shaman.
You're putting Resto Shaman?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really watch much healers and stuff, so I'm not really sure. I'm gonna say Resto Shaman, missing for Disc, and Resto Druid. Resto Druid actually might be terrible. Yeah, I'll see with Resto Druid, whatever.
So you need one more healer. So it can be you can have a second of those. Like I'm thinking 2 Disc Priests probably you're gonna see because I know Disc Priest performing really well.
I'm gonna go Prez Evoker.
Another Prez Evoker.
Yeah.
All right, so we have our team. So I got Monk, Prot Warrior. I'm gonna say 4 augmentation. I'm just gonna get rid of the 3. Honestly, I think it'll be 4 augmentation. Havoc, Enhance. It's supposed to be Arcane. It's on yours for some reason. I see. See. All right, now it should be. Yeah, so I got augmentation, 4 of them, Havoc, Enhance, Arcane Mage, Unholy Decay, Boomkin, Dev Evoker, Assassination, Ret, Affliction. And you've got 2 augmentation, Havoc, Enhance, Arcane, Dev Evoker, Boomkin, Ret, Affliction, Unholy, Sub Rogue, Fury Warrior, and Beastmaster Hunter.
Yeah.
Tank wise, you got Monk and Blood Decay. I've got Monk and Prot Warrior. Healer, I'm going with 2 Disc Priests, a Holy Pally, Resto Shaman, and a Prez Evoker. You've got a Mistweaver, Disc Priest, Resto Shaman, Resto Druid, Prez Evoker. So we'll pay attention. We'll come back to these.
Yes, yeah.
see how it compares.
I wonder if it's going to be any surprises. Like, wow, we're seeing an Outlaw Rogue. Because I don't see an Outlaw Rogue.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah.
I only specifically been watching testing today, not any other days. I watched Dungeons other days, but Raid is only today, so I only see 1 boss, right? So I could be very wrong with what I'm seeing.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's really. I mean, it also depends on boss. It's going to change stuff depending on the boss and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll see here. Check what this site shows. Interesting. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but yeah, could be interesting. Anyway, moving on. What was your week in WoW like, sir?
Just Evoker and Rogue keys. I think that's about it. I did some alt stuff, and then I probably will play some Pally tonight. But yeah, just keys on. I did 8 keys of subtlety, and I did some more assassination. I'm just way better assassination than him, so. And my Evoker, I did a dev dungeon that went decent, and then I did augmentation that went even better, obviously. And yeah, that's about it.
Not bad.
yourself?
Just running keys. Got stuff done on. We got some 20s done last week, and then got my Brewmaster to 2000 rating, Druid to 2500, and then last night we got my Pally to 2000. So I got KSM in 4 different tanks now, because my Demon Hunter's at 2600. But yeah, that's been about it. Getting profession stuff and that cranked out. As usual, the weekly grind.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, no. Get some more playing in tonight, at least for a little bit. Probably a couple out. Maybe 2 or 3 keys. We'll see. Get some stuff done, and then get some sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be about it. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, you can always check us out at our socials up top. Twitch, I'm twitch.tv/buckblind, YouTube, Buckblind the Demon Hunter, and Twitter at BuckblindDH. Bio, what are yours?
QQ_Bioshock.
There we go.
YouTube and Twitch.
All right, and of course, feel free to leave any comments, suggestions, whatever you've got for us at the bottom of the comments of the YouTube page, whatever. Spotify, whatever you're listening to, whatever way you're taking us in. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the podcast. And yeah, we will see you guys next time.
See ya.